That's the question. I'm going to start with you, Willie.
Okay.
We're going to go on the radar when it comes to the postseason with the Titanic ones. It's radar, not sonar.
Well, I'm going to say for Tennessee, it's definitely on the radar, Heath. Yeah. When you report to camp, what's the number one goal?
Win the division.
Win the division. Yep. There were 2-4 in the division last year. Yep. The team that won it was 5-1 in the division, the Texans. They're 9-7. So you talk about the second easiest schedule in the league. So that's saying you got a chance. And then they're the number one offense in the red zone.
Okay.
You run the ball. You're a top 5 team in rushing the football.
True.
You bring in a number 1 receiver to help your young quarterback out. You bring in a triple threat in Adoree Jackson that can play cornerback, that can special teams, returns, punts, kickoff returns, things like that, and you can use them as a slot receiver. So I would say this team has fortified the defense. They've gotten better, and they added some weapons on offense. Definitely has a shot in that division to go to the postseason.
Okay, from the Music City to the home of hot wings. Heath, what do you say? On or off the radar? Those Buffalo Bills, my friend.
I'm going to say off, just because of the unknowns. I mean, listen, I know Sean McDermott's pedigree in the defensive side of the ball. I mean, first-time head coach. What are we going to get out of him? We're not sure. This defense, it's kind of been atrocious under Rex Ryan. They're switching ideas in the sense of how they're going to go about their defensive style. Maybe Jerry Hughes and the boys will get set free and they'll go hunt the quarterback better. We'll see. But then offensively, Rick Dennison comes in as more of a West Coast mind, so you pair him with T-Mobile, but your offseason, we know what Shady's capable of. But then you bring in a couple fullbacks, Tolbert from Carolina, who McDermott knows, and then DeMarco from Atlanta. So I think they're going to hunker down and try to make one of the better run games even better. But it's still a quarterback-driven team, their league. And if you're going to beat the Patriots, you're going to need more than what they got.
Got to score points.
All right. Yeah. Let's move along to the artists formerly known as the San Diego Padres. They're going to be playing in front of a raucous 30,000 stands at the StubHub. So what do you think? How are the LA Chargers going to be this year?
I wanted to put them on the radar so bad, but I just can't. First of all, the division is tough. The division got better, and every single team got better. And then can they beat the injury bug? Can this team stay healthy? Almost 21 players on and off the injury report IR last year, so that hurt them a bit. And then the division got tougher. Finished football games 25-32. The last 2 seasons of losing games 8 points or less. This is telling me this team has not yet learned to finish football games. They have gotten better on defense. They got some young talent over there. You got to keep your stud Verrett healthy on the outside. And I think on the offensive side, you did go out and get Mike Williams, another weapon to help Keenan Allen. So you got weapons. You got a young tight end that's going to help you stay healthy. But this is a tough division. I think they're not there yet.
What about the Philadelphia Eagles, Heath? We know last year they had some struggles, but they did show some bright spots.
It's going to be a gritty fight, but I'm going to say they're on the radar. We heard Brian Baldinger talk a minute ago and had Lane Johnson, their right tackle. They were a 5-1 football team, suspended 10 games. It really hurt their offensive scheme in a lot of ways. You signed LeGarrette Blount this offseason, so you get a big back. You've already got Ryan Matthews. Keep him healthy. A young quarterback. We saw the potential. And then, so they're add some weapons there. Alshon, we know about Torrey. But this team always going to come back to the defensive side of the ball for me. If look what the Giants did inside this division last year. It was a defensive spectacle. It wasn't the offense carrying the load down the stretch for the Giants. So I think Jim Schwartz and these boys got to find a way to live up to promise.
Year 3 for Jameis Winston down there in Florida with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. On or off the playoff radar, Will?
I'm going to say on. I've been on this team in the offseason. I think they did enough in the offseason to add to Jameis Winston. You bring in another speedy receiver to open things up. You don't have to force the ball to Evans. He threw 18 interceptions last year, only 28 touchdowns. You got to have a better ratio with that. Then you bring in O.J. Howard, a tight end, those short to intermediate routes. You got a guy that can block in the running game, a red zone threat. But on defense is where I'm impressed at. Absolutely. This team was first on third down. Okay. This team in the second half went from 25th to 7th in scoring defense, which means they kept teams out of the end zone and they turned the football over. This defense played great in the second half. If they can continue that throughout the whole season and Winston can limit the interceptions, this team will be in the playoffs.
And their defense played Breeze a couple times, Ryan, Cam Newton. That defense was tested and they balled.
All good points right there. Last but not least, let's move this party to the land of 10,000 lakes. Oh, by the way, the Minnesota Vikings, they just signed Dalvin Cook today. So what do you think?
I like me some Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
Let me start with defense, because Zimmer was brought there to fix the defense, to create an attitude in the old black and blue division that he has created. Last year, it fell off a bit. I believe he'll get that rectified. Offensively, we can get bored with Sam Bradford. But in November and December, 3 for 1 touchdowns, interception. He set an all-time NFL record for pass completion percentage last year. when this team fell apart because of injuries, Matt Khalil, Andre Smith, Jake Long, all three offensive tackles, Sharif Ford, AP was down all year. I mean, this kid, despite it being somewhat of a boring brand of offense with Thielen, he got a gun, and he got a lot better. So I expect with a healthy offensive line, and then another year under Zimmer, the head coach, they'll get this thing right. And I think they're going to shock a lot of people.
And Jerick McKinnon,